Thanks very much for the opportunity to talk tonight. It's great to be part of sort of Digital Sydney and that combination of digital and creative. So what's TigerSpike? So TigerSpike is, as you heard, a personal media company who specializes in mobile. So that doesn't mean much to my mother, but when I explain that I build iPhone applications, that kind of sort of gets it across there. So we build applications for the range of devices that people carry around with them, whether they're tablets or mobile phones. We were founded in Sydney in 2003. In a very small office in Darlinghurst, and we now have offices in Sydney, London, New York, and most recently we opened an office in Melbourne. So I was just going to sort of talk you through the TigerSpike journey, where innovation fits in, some of the things that sort of being in Sydney and being part of, I guess, Digital Sydney has really sort of meant to us, where we've come and what we've done. As I said, what we actually do is develop design applications. We help companies get into mobile. You heard from Alan from Google that there's currently 2 billion people on the internet, and there'll be 5 billion over the next 10 years. Most of those people will access the internet on a mobile device. It won't be a fixed sort of big desktop computer, it'll be on mobile. And that's really where we see enormous growth and enormous potential for the sorts of products and services that we develop. So, as I said, TigerSpike started a very small office, 5 people crammed into a room, probably about a third the size of this stage. We very early on had a relationship with universities in Australia. Myself and my business partner went to Charles Sturt University, which was running a game design degree, and we took on 2 of their graduates. They did a 6-month internship, which was basically them working for us and not getting paid. One of the guys is actually, both of them are still with us. One's based in our London office, and Matt's with us at the moment. He used to stack shelves at night in Kmart so he could come and write code for us on mobile phones in 2004. So which is an incredibly humbling experience. We've never had any investment. We're still 100% privately owned, so a slightly different route to some entrepreneurs. And I guess the environment in Australia and the environment in Sydney has helped us get to where we are. So we now, as I said, we have over 100 people working for TigerSpike spread across the world. And 70% of those people are writing code or doing something. There's a lot of creative people we have as well. For us, the key to designing compelling experiences on mobile devices is the UI, UX, the actual user experience, how someone engages with that device. We talk about sort of being a personal media company because the devices that you carry around with you are completely personal to you. You know, it's your experience on that device. And all the companies we work with are trying to sort of deepen their engagement with their audience. They're trying to sort of interact with consumers in ways that hasn't been done before, and that's exactly what we help bring to life for companies in Australia. It's interesting, the average age of the employees in TigerSpike is 27. We had one of our employees was the first person to turn 40 2 weeks ago, so it's an incredibly young, sort of, I guess, sort of interesting company to work for, trying to sort of manage all those things that go with having a young workforce. But the interesting thing, though, is the enthusiasm they have for what they do. We recently launched the SBS World News iPhone application, which has been, I think, one of the most successful launches of a news application in Australia. It's had phenomenal uptake and critical acclaim. And one of the junior developers who was working on it said the other day, he walked into the office and he was so excited. He said he was on the train coming into Central. We were just up in Surrey Hills, and he saw another commuter actually watching the news on their iPhone. And he couldn't believe that something he'd created was actually being used by someone he'd never met before. He thought this was absolutely fantastic. So it's just amazing. This guy's 22. It's his first ever job. And it's wonderful to sort of see things like that. So I guess it's helping Australian companies, sort of, I guess, big iconic Australian companies take their content to the world. But also at TigerSpike, we're fortunate to work with some incredible global brands. We recently launched The Economist on iPad. That's now been downloaded in over 70 countries. It has some fantastic features that really sort of highlight what's possible with the device and how media companies, traditional print companies, can do something completely different with these sorts of devices, which are becoming sort of a part of people's everyday lives. Things like having all of the articles being read to you in a rather plummy English accent is a feature that's part of The Economist, and it was something they put in there. It's one of the most used features and most commented on features in iTunes. For The Economist. It's a really interesting way of sort of combining the visual and the audio side of things, which is part of sort of what Creative Sydney is about. It's all about sort of how all those senses combine, and we believe that creating experience on personal media devices is a fantastic way of sort of bringing that that to life. Other iconic brands, I was going to sort of highlight one. So we do some work with the Telegraph, and one of our project managers, this is Telegraph in the UK, it sits on our platform, which also does all of News Digital Media's iPad news applications. And one of our developers in the UK he was kind of reading it and he was assessing it at night, and he kept having the white screen, so the white screen with the black background, and his girlfriend was shouted at him because he was supposed to be asleep and that sort of stuff. So he came up with a feature which we've called night reading, and what it actually does is it's black on with white text. So he dreamed this up because his girlfriend complained at him when he was trying to bug fix the application that we developed. And it's now a feature, it's been talked about, the Telegraph love it, it's actually featured in their TV ad that they're running across the UK at the moment. So I guess that sort of things that Dean was talking about, where it's just bringing ideas to life, that's kind of how we work within TigerSpike. It's all about trying to capture the best of what everybody has to offer, whether it's designers, people just out of university, or really kind of, your girlfriend shouting at you when you're lighting up the bedroom at night. However, having said that, working on innovation, I mean, I have a team of 3 developers who work with us. We look at a whole range of different things. It's how can we take those innovations and actually practically deploy them for customers around the world? How can we make augmented reality not just a gimmick, but a utility function that actually adds value to people's lives? And we're working with the likes of ResMed and Cochlear to look at how medical services can access these devices for people who have disabilities and that kind of thing. And it's really interesting. And I think some of the stuff that happens on this device is amazing. I've got a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, and both of them can navigate around an iPad. And I think in 10 years' time, when they look back, they will just question what on earth this device was, because things will be so completely different. And my hope is that TigerSpike is still there developing whatever it might be for whatever the next device is that everybody carries around with us. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening, and thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you.